What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and we're going to be looking at gold and silver on like WTF, what happened today, why is everything down. We're looking at GLD or gold basically down well over 5%, and then we look at silver SLV basically down 13.5. We have about 30 minutes left of trading here. Both of them have had a huge run up in the overall market and now just starting really coming down substantially. 5% is pretty substantially, 10%, especially well over 10% on silver. That's really considered more of a correction territory than more of a just a mediocre sell-off. But with GLD, let's go ahead and start with GLD and we'll look at some options activity. Same with silver, and we'll just kind of look at some guidelines, potential levels of support, and how far could this knife drop and how much damage can it do. And then we'll just kind of do that via the Fibonacci and moving averages and volume indicators that we use here, and then we'll just make an informed decision. Again, no one has a crystal ball in the market. Just be super wary of that, as you saw with Sorrento's Therapeutics yesterday, hit an all-time high, down today nearly 25%. Again, the market doesn't care about your feelings. It can do basically whatever and get around the understanding of the market. It doesn't care about feelings. It has its own momentum shifts. All right, looking at gold here. So gold basically down still about 5%. Really strong movement through the 21. Huge gap down overnight. So this is something that is really ugly to see. A lot of times a huge gap down. But we're looking for initial support. Again, initial support's always around the 21, but with the momentum and the huge gap down, the 34 is going to come in for initial support here around 178. Basically here on the 34 EMA on the daily chart, and then of course we can come falling down all the way to around the 50-day, so be around 172, and then we're looking for support around the 78.6 percentile move. And where these Fibonacci numbers are coming from on GLD are previously longer dated charts on basically the monthly here. So this is from since gold's all-time high in the summerish or fall of 2011, here hitting a high of basically that 185.46. Of course, we broke through that, but now hitting that level of support and not really being able to close above this. That's pretty significant here on even on the monthly side. We did have some volume going through to hit that high of 194.45, but now seeing this momentum really shift lower. Again, anything can happen in the market, but this is a pretty drastic move with this huge gap down. Looking for initial support potentially around 178, and then anywhere from 172. This is going to be very difficult to calculate because usually on a large gap down like this, you're going to get a lot of FOMO selling, a lot of people just running to the door, and this can bleed for quite some time. It could rebound and make a V shape. Again, there's no crystal ball in the market, so just be super mindful that this is really just trading on a lot of folks and a lot of people's fears, their fear and their overall emotional attachment to this particular ticker and their money value in it. So this huge gap down, we're seeing a small gap up here. We're kind of filling this gap here, which is a good sign. Potentially further distance on the way down to 172 for the initial support. So we can kind of look this at a little bit longer time frame here. We're going to look at this basically on a weekly side to kind of give us a better understanding of what happened here. We've seen these movements here on the weekly side before, coming down to around the 5 and 8 exponential moving average on the weekly side. So initial support, if you're trading it here on a longer time frame, which a lot of folks have and have been riding gold and silver up for quite some time, that initial support really on this is not going to come until around 175. We start seeing some ticks below 175. We're going to basically be looking for 167 here on the weekly side. This is going to be some things that are going to be much more easily to trade and potentially look at for potential support and resistance going forth. I know we talked about potentially hitting 208, but that's kind of that's still not out of the picture. Anything can happen without a doubt. But looking for the general damage that's been done here, it's been pretty substantial, so we can see some downward movement. So let's go ahead and take a looky-loo over at the options tier here. We can look at some of the options that were sold, some of the higher price ones. We're seeing a lot of activity basically in October, September, some out all the way until next year, but a lot of folks were selling today. Of course, with the overall influx of downward movement, of course, comes a lot of the what we call the Red River, where just basically you can open up the time and sales tab, and it's just a smorgasbord of selling and just not having a grand old time. That being said, we can kind of look again, a lot of activity on some of the larger sizes. That's what we kind of want to look at, of what the large trades are going out for. We're basically looking of January, some large trades in October, especially in October. So we can kind of look at October of just this year. So it's the 16th of October, looking at some really large price movements in there. You can really see here on the put side that we saw a tremendous amount of change here. So we're talking about, again, gold's been slowly climbing and going up, but once that ride or that escalator breaks, and then it's like an elevator down, that's when you see these puts just really expand, just gaining so much of percentage change in within a day. You're seeing, again, a lot of trading activity around 177. We talked about initial support around 175 to 172, but really seeing it around 167. You're seeing a lot of open interest and a lot of volume traded in that today. Still, again, some support at 173 and 175 are going to be one of your largest tiers of open interest as of today. And then to the long side, you're seeing, as you can see here, a lot of red here, of course, with the positions really just getting tanked really hard and seeing drops of well over 40%, some 47, up to 50% on depending on what options you're buying. This being said, we're seeing a lot of open interest still around the 185. Again, that was towards its near-term high that it had. Of course, now we've really blown past that. We're trading around 180. Again, a lot of options activity around that, especially a lot of options activity around the 195. Basically, a lot of folks could be coming in selling that particular call, collecting that premium, and saying hasta la vista. Never going to see that in silver again. I'm not sure, but that is an enormous amount of volume just on that particular option just today. So that being said, we can kind of sum up by looking at the chart here on the daily side. Again, looking for potential further downside if this cannot recover. Again, a lot of damage has been done. Huge gap down, potentially looking for initial support around 175 to 177. If that can't hold, we're basically look out below to around 173 to potentially even to 167 to the downside in the near term, due to the fact of the amount of selling going on, and we're really lost a lot of momentum, hit the RSI levels, and it's been a really ugly day if you were long silver or gold. So let's go ahead and talk about silver. Let's go ahead and jump over to silver. That's SLV. Of course, this one hit a high just of yesterday, and of course, once it hit it, it said hasta la vista's way, and it went from basically 27.40 basically down to the low of about $23 of today, trading at around $23.40. Again, 13.37% lower that we're currently looking at. That is pretty substantial. That's a lot of damage done. Again, another gap down scenario that has not crossed or touched the 21 yet, so we're really going to be looking for that line to be support here. That'd be around $22.32. Again, that was the 1618 from the previous swing high to low. And then from that support, basically you're going to be looking between the 34 and really looking for the 127, basically around $19.85 for support. And to the upside, we're going to potentially, again, we're potentially looking for the potential top, or a lot of the selling could be coming in around the $29 level, but it looks like we were a couple points earlier, and it just decided to go down from this particular standpoint. Looking at the charts here, or the options table here, again, same thing as well. A lot of selling here, especially with the all-time high just happened of yesterday. A lot of traders have switched their mindset, and you're seeing a substantial amount of selling, especially on a lot of the calls. So someone's selling the September 30th and the September 30th, September 30th, the 25 call, and then buying those 30 other ones for protection. So we can look at those, especially September. November is also one that kind of came up, but September and October, again, were high volume time. So we can kind of look out of September. We're looking at that 25 call. We're looking here, again, that was an astronomical amount of selling. Huge amount of volume coming in today. Huge price reduced about 54%. Same on the put side. You're seeing a lot of volume coming in around the $20. That's a nice round number. that could be a potential bottom. People could be, again, that is a huge open interest, around $70 here for silver, especially for the next month or so. Again, this options contract is about 38 days away, but having a huge open interest of 70 contracts there is pretty astronomical. So that is being very heavily down ticking here. Again, that particular options contract is just up 200% today. So that's pretty 200%. So that options contract was like 10 cents. We can kind of look on how that played out on the chart here, on especially with the overall movement. You can kind of see here basically trading just the other day, it was like 16 cents and then got a high of about 58 cents on that particular contract. So that was pretty large movement again with SLV. Just kind of doing some key takeaways here. On a longer time frame, we can kind of break this down on a monthly side. This SLV had a high of basically $48 way back when, around the same time frame where gold was. We looked at GLD around the 2011 time period. That being said, this thing has just been a huge run up. We have not reached the RSI on the monthly side, but we have reached it on multiple other sides. On the weekly side, we did hit that RSI reading there, signaling potentially overbought, meaning there's too many folks in the trade going long, needed some correction, needed to get out those weak hands. Again, initial support going to be looking around $22.32. Then it's really going to be looking to around the $20 to the 1985 level for the really strong level of support if things really start selling. Again, we took a hard hit here on silver. That being said, be super careful out there, guys. Hopefully you have a great day for the rest of the day. Please, if you're interested on checking out the trading club here, from the join button on the side here next to the subscribe button. We also have a fantastic Discord you can take a looky-loo at and see on how that is going if you're interested on joining. That's completely free. We got to share trade ideas, we share memes, we have a questions tab as well. Again, guys, I really do appreciate everyone coming out and watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.